All right, guys, without further ado, let's get right into the conversation. I don't have that much time today, but one of my subscribers brought something up interesting to me the other day. Excuse me, it's pretty warm in here. I turned the heat down, so if you see me wiping my sweat, this is exactly what I'm doing. He wanted to know basically how you calculate your net worth, okay? Your net worth, and you have different types of net worth. You have your tangible net worth, and you also have your intangible net worth. So, quite frankly, your net worth is all of your assets, right, minus your liabilities, right? So, your net worth is quite simply the dollar amount of your assets, right? Your assets, those things that generate you money, minus all of your debts. Okay, debts can also be labeled as liabilities, but debts. All right, we're used to debt. We'll use debt. And then that kind of gives you a general sum of your net worth, how much you're actually worth. So some of you, a lot of Americans, we are negative in our net worth. So, basically, if you're looking at sort of your tangibles, that's your net worth, what totes up in assets minus your debt, minus your liabilities. But then you also have your intangible assets. That's your goodwills and your copyrights and your patents and also your intellectual properties. Now, why would you want to know your tangible net worth? Because you may go to a bank, you may go to a lender, and they want to actually know your tangible net worth for liquidation if you're trying to get a business loan. Okay, if you're trying to get a business loan. Because quite frankly, if I'm gonna give you 50,000 to start this business, but you don't have a plus positive of a tangible net worth that I can liquidate or you can liquidate to pay me my money, the chances are you may not get that loan, even though you might have good credit. It just depends. So if you are $60,000 in school debt and those debts are not deferred, and it just depends on the lender, those debts are not deferred, then you have to tally up the amount that you have, right? Tangible like a car, a house, real estate, a boat, anything that you can actually sell that's going to actually help you. So those are the things that we really have to understand, that the difference between net worth and tangible net worth is calculations that include all your assets and then also subtracts all your debts, all your liabilities. Now, I'm just going down my list to make sure you guys understand, because by definition, assets includes cash, investments, real estate property, such as homes, maybe residential properties that you may have, and also personal property, as I stated before, furniture, cars. Oh, and how about this? Depending, arts, watches, and diamonds, because you can cash all those things in, like myself. I don't know if I'm a watch collector, because that's what collectibles can be, right? And you'll see when I start the second part of this video, I give you 7 ways or 7 places to put your money. I have roughly about 20 something watches, and I don't really know the net worth of those watches, but I would say they probably range anywhere from, altogether, conglomerately, right? All my watches are probably, I don't know, man, about $20,000. Okay. But I have over 20. So it's not like wait a minute, that's a lot, huh? Each watch is not worth $1,000. Let me just say that. And these have been accumulated over time, because if you're looking at how people are doing it in the industry, they're buying art. Jay-Z is buying art and put his money into something that he can pass down. Because a lot of the ways that I'm going to tell you to put your money after we go through this tangible net worth is for doomsday. Could that actually happen? Doomsday could simply be a recession or a depression. We just don't know. So hopefully you understand that's very quickly what your tangible net worth is. Those things that are tangible, that doesn't include your goodwill, your patents, your copyrights, and also your intellectual properties, but it does include those things that you can physically touch. Even though investments you can't physically touch, but you can cash those things out and liquidate them to give that loaner the money that that you actually borrow from them. So hopefully you understand that concept. Is very basic. It's very basic. So I know you guys understand. It's very basic. Now, let's move right into a couple of places where you can actually keep your money. The first on my mind is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. You see it everywhere. Your savings account, also some of your investments account, and also like I think the SIPIC. I think that's it. No, don't quote me. I haven't looked at it in quite a while. But FDIC is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and they insure your money up to $250,000. And here's the thing: the FDIC was actually wow, I'm lost for words today, guys. I'm sorry. It was created in 1933. In 1933, and since then, it hasn't lost anyone one single dime. That money hasn't been insured up into $250,000, $250,000, and hasn't lost anybody any money. That's why every time you want to look at a high yield savings account or savings account, period, you want to make sure it's FDIC insured. And the other step is to make sure that that bank is registered under the FDIC. I mean, anybody can put a label or something. Like I can make up a website and say my website is insured FDIC if you give me a lot of money. So you have to go to the FDIC.gov website and make sure that that actual bank is listed on their website, because you want to verify, you want to legitimize that institution, because that's where you're putting your money. It's quite simple. That's where you're putting your money. So that is where you actually want to check the FDIC website. And then the second place is the market. Okay, it's the market. Now, if you didn't know this, over the past 50 years, listen to this. Some of you are not even 50 yet. Over the past 50 years, the market on average has been returning people 10%. 10%. Think about that. So basically, you're putting your money in, and it's saying over the course of $50 years, whether it's been going up or down, but the average has been returning people 10%. This is why I stream at you guys, I yell at you guys, I preach to you guys, I teach to you guys, put your money in the market. But most importantly, put your money in what I call very solid investments like bonds and index and ETFs. Yes, there's companies that you can do research on that are solid companies that you can put your money into as well. Okay, one of them I have named your Apples, your Amazon, especially those tech companies. They're not going anywhere unless they just do something astronomically stupid. And guess what? Rich people don't like to lose money. Rich people don't like to lose money. Neither does rich corporation. And who leads rich corporation? Rich people. So they don't like to lose money. And that's what you need to understand. So let's get right into the, so that's the first, FDIC in the markets. Federal bonds, U.S. Treasury federal bonds. They have been returning anywhere from 1% to 4%. They're risk-free securities, because a U.S. Treasury bond is you loaning money to the U.S. government. And guess, the U.S. government ain't gonna give you a lot on your return, but these are solid investments. Yes, these are solid investment. These are risk-free, and that's what they consider them. It's because the U.S. government going to pay your money back. I mean, you might say, well, what if, they don't sign the budget for that year? You still want to get your money. You may not get it where you want, but you're supposed to keep your money in bonds until you absolutely need it. Because it's not like you have $1,000 inside of a bond or bonds, and they give you 3 to 4% or 1 to 2%. Let's just go the ratio of 1 to 4. They give you 1 to 4, and then the next year they give you 1 to 4. But don't forget, those percentages are compounding and adding on each other. So next year is 6%, so on and so forth, right? And then they double and they triple throughout the course of time. So those are very solid investments. And then real estate. Real estate has made the most millionaires in America than any other profession. Look it up. It has. Because quite frankly, I always say do your research, because it also can put you in the poorhouse. It can also put you in the poorhouse, because if you're not doing your due diligence and you put your money into an undeveloped neighborhood that no one's going to develop, and if you don't have the capital to develop that neighborhood, chances are you're going to lose a lot of money. So I know I said something previously on the live video that a lot of people primarily didn't like, but here's the thing. If you know that a certain neighborhood is going to be gentrified, meaning they're going to tear down all the low income housing and they're going to come in there with condos, if you have an opportunity to buy a piece of property, to buy a storefront, to buy some sort of brick and mortar you can rent out, that is a grade A investment. That is a grade A investment because once those contractors, once those businessmen sign the dotted line and the money is put forth for construction to head in, you want to make sure you have a piece of the pie. So you have to get into the yellow pages of things. You have to get into the white pages of things and do a little research in the up and coming neighborhoods in your area, okay, in your state. That way you can have a piece of the pie. Real estate, I'm telling you, man, it has made a lot of millionaires. And I've said it before. I want to get in real estate. I want to get into a single family home because I just love having a nice house. But at the same time, I'm thinking, what if I stayed and I bought a multi-family home? Either 2 units or 4 units. And depending on what the part of the country you're in, some of you may say these are duplexes, okay? But let's start the duplex thing. Let's put in multi-family homes because some people always look at duplexes as low-income housing. It really isn't. It just depends on how you market it, how you advertise, and quite frankly, how you dress it up, okay? Some people say, well, you dress up a donkey, it's still a donkey. But it's a good-looking donkey. That's the point I'm making. Then precious metal. Now, you put your money in precious metal. This is one of those doomsday sort of accounts because if everything else fails, statistics shows us and history shows us that gold, silver, and copper are still going to be valuable. Gold, silver, and copper are still going to be valuable because from the dawn that we deemed that these precious metals are precious, they have been valuable. Okay, they literally have their own market. Then let's talk about your fourth one. Luxury assets. Luxury assets, that's your tangible assets, right? Like your collectibles, arts and watches and diamonds and so forth. We won't get into it. I'm just telling where you can put your money at, and it is going to require you just to do a little bit of research. Now, one of the first ones I told you, okay, was the federal bonds. I know I told you about the FDIC and also the markets, but also your federal bonds. And if you just look up USTreasuryBonds.gov, you can go to their website and you can actually buy some bonds. Buy and hold. That's all you do with bonds. Buy and hold, okay? Moving right along. And a lot of people make fun of me of this because I have a safe and I have some money inside of my safe. And it's kind of your cash hidden away. Your cash hidden away. I call it my runaway money. Like I just want to run away from a couple of things. So I call it my runaway money. But you just never know. It's kind of cliche, not because I want all your money to be in the market, all your money to be in your savings. But essentially, I have a little nest egg of money just in case. Okay, that's one of your doomsday devices because people may be still dealing in hard cash, but we're moving so fast into the digital age that we no longer deal in cash. And when people see cash, they're like, he's using cash? Yeah, I'm using cash. Some things I do use cash. Now, a lot of times I just use my phone. They have NFC technology. That's your near field communication where you just touch the credit card machine and it takes your money right out of your account. I mean, it's convenient, but sometimes I also deal in cash. And it's, in my opinion, the good to have some cash stashed away. Stashinvest.com. Yeah, just putting you on game. Just put you on game. Invest your money. Also, you can put your money into a business or a farm or both, right? Putting your money, now granted, can you lose money putting your money into a business? Yes, you can. Yes, you can lose money put into a business. But then again, investments do come with risks. But when they pay out big. And again, you have to do your research of the business that you're putting your money into. Don't just blindly put money into places where you're not doing your research. Because some of you just want the answers. Okay, some of you just want the answers, but you also have to ask the questions. You get what I'm saying? It's imperative for you to ask the questions. You may want to see the business plan. You want that company to lay out everything so you can read through and see the projection of how they're going to get there. on how they're going to get there. Because you just like, oh, you guys been returning 12% every year. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put my money with you guys. Whoa, whoa. How did you get 12% a year? What are you guys invested in? What is your innovation for the next 5 years? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself while you're researching these companies. And then a farm. Now, if you notice that the industry, that the world is moving to what? I've said it before, veganism. There's a lot of companies changing their practices dealing with either meat and dairy products, and they're changing into vegan companies, okay? They're still processing food, because if you buy a meatball that's not a meatball, it's a veggie ball or soy ball made out of soy, it's still processed food. But nonetheless, the vegan world is blowing up. You may not be a vegan. You're like, I'm not giving up my burgers. I'm not giving up my ribs. Ooh, man, every time I talk about ribs, something about smoked ribs. Anyway, I'm sorry, off topic. But you deal with these companies like Beyond Meat. I talked about that when they first released their IPO on the market. They shot up over 100%, and I would have made a lot of money, but I didn't. I should have, and I eat their products, okay? Now I'm reading some stuff. They're saying that their products are not good. And of course, I kind of knew if you're going to process veggies to taste like meat, okay, exactly. Some people are like, man, you should just eat meat. But meat is a class 1 carcinogen. Just do your research. Look up meat. They're going to say red meat, but literally all meat is a class 1 carcinogen. And I'm not a meat hater. I still eat meat every now and again, but I have cut back a whole hell of a lot. I've cut back a whole hell of a lot on meat because of that information. And then number 7, okay, that last one when it comes to businesses and farmers was number 6. And then number 7, cryptocurrency. If you notice, everything is becoming digitized. Everything is becoming digitized. When PayPal came on the scene, a lot of us should invest in PayPal. When cryptocurrency like Bitcoin came on the scene, a lot of us should have invested in Bitcoin. We should have, but we didn't. We should have invested in Bitcoin, because if you would have invested in Bitcoin in 2011, think about this. In 2011, $100, which I know all of you have, $100, which I know all of you have, if you would have invested in Bitcoin, the year 2017, when Bitcoin hit, was it $19,000 a coin? You would have made millions off of $100. If you do the calculations correctly, if you go and you look at their graph chart, at the peak of Bitcoin, I believe it was in 2017, if you invest in $100 in 2011, you would have made somewhere of $3.3 million. $3 million off $100. That is, because Bitcoin for that moment in time, it was so many Bitcoin millionaires. Okay, it's been so many Bitcoin millionaires. Now, some of them Bitcoin millionaires are no longer millionaires because they put a lot of their money back into Bitcoin, and their Bitcoin dropped. Now, I don't know how much Bitcoin is right now, but let's do a quick search, because I love to give you guys the information as we're live here. Exactly. So Bitcoin right now is $9,000. $9,000, $290, $9,000. That's where Bitcoin is right now. So I'm going to look at Bitcoin. See, let's go to the max. I want to look at the full chart. Yep. This was I believe 2017. Ooh. Listen to this. December 15th, 2017, right before Christmas. Bitcoin peaked at $19,650.01. Okay, I know you guys are not like what I'm getting all fidgety because that's the money I lost. I feel like I lost money. In 2017, December 15th, 10 days before Christmas, Bitcoin peaked at $19,650.01. So if you would have bought Bitcoin in 2011, one Bitcoin. Oh, well, if you would have, let me back up. Not one Bitcoin. If you would have bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, which they wasn't even worth $100, right? You would have bought $100 worth of them during the peak. you would became an instant millionaire. But you had to sell it, right? You had to sell it because shortly after that, let me go. Let me just move this a little bit here. Shortly after that, in January 5th, 2018, okay, after Christmas, after New Year's, 5 days after, 4 days after New Year's, it dropped to $17,100. So I would have been looking at the trend. I would have been looking because I'm like, man, I made so much money so fast. Let me see if I can hold it. When it started to teeter, because Bitcoin was so new, I know I would have sold it. And some like, well, that's not how investments work. You know, they dive. But have you noticed Bitcoin has not recovered? Bitcoin has not recovered. Right now, it's been teetering between 7,000 and 10,000. 7,000 and 10,000. So look, in the past 5 years, let's look at the trend here. See, in September, no, let's go back a little bit. So in April, listen to this. Bitcoin was $5,100. Bitcoin in April of this year was $5,100. Now, if you would have got in then, and then in July, it went up to $10,000. You would have doubled your money if you would have started investing in Bitcoin then. Now, granted, some people are starting putting their money in now because they believe that Bitcoin is overdue another high peak. Now, do I have some Bitcoins? I don't have one Bitcoin. I got a couple of $100 in Bitcoin because I'm still trying to figure out, because Bitcoin is still trying to, get its way in the market. Then the other thing, I do invest into blockchain technology. That's because people like IBM and Google and all these huge tech heads companies are actually adopting blockchain technology security for their systems. So that is the security system that Bitcoin actually uses to transfer money autonomously throughout the world. So these are things that we have to look at in the market, multiple ways to diversify our money. So like I told you before, I didn't want to be here before you long, but nonetheless, we talked about your tangible net worth. Okay, that's all your tangible assets minus all your debts. Then we talked about the 7 places where I believe is a good place to put your money. Now, there's a certain percentage of these things. I'm not going to put all my money inside my safe. I'm not going to do that. Most of my money is going to be in investments. A good chunk of it is going to be in high yield savings. That's FDIC insured. Some of my money, maybe 10%, 15% of being bonds. And of course, the allocation of these 7 places I'm telling you vary throughout your life timeline. As I get closer to being 60, a lot more of my money are going to become into bonds, index and ETFs. Right now I have some in individual stocks, but not that much because I am slowly changing into that realm. Have some money into some collectibles like watches, not so much diamonds, but also precious metals. And again, the place where you can get those bonds is USTreasury.gov. So hopefully you learned something today. Let me know what you want to hear, and I'll do the research and you just listen and get the information. I'm going to talk to you straight. But hey, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is Financial Literacy 101. I'm Roswell, and I'm out.